like what they're gonna pick for the game. It's just like Magnus with a melee carry that LGD has been picking a lot, but other than that, like Burning has been playing a lot of different carries, and yeah, bo3 like Monkey King and these other heroes, so it's very hard to say.
Regardless of what the picks are, I think this will be a very high skill game. Being remaining. China versus China, and then being familiar with each other, probably practice against each other before they came to this event. It's going to be a battle of the mind games because they're going to know each other incredibly well.
Game 1 is going to start right now. It's Invictus Gaming versus LGD for a spot in the top 4.
Invictus Gaming's turn to...
Very curious to see how the draft is going to pan out because of how interesting the meta has been in terms of developing over the course of this event. We see the Kunkka Nightstalker ban out of Invictus. We see the Nyx Lich ban out of LGD. Relatively common bans. Perhaps the Kunkka is the one that is the most specific, trying to deny that to Victoria. And right away, the Earth Spirit.
You guys think we're going to see Magnus from LGD here?
Be better.
I'm not sure. I was thinking about that they might not want to pick it against IG for some reason. And IG isn't banning it either, so obviously they aren't afraid of it, even though it's one of the heroes that LGD has been the most successful with.
Earth Spirit's a pretty anti-melee hero, so almost a little bit of preparation for that. I mean, bo3 plays a fantastic Earth Spirit the other day. We saw him kind of like dominate that game where up against somebody's offlane puck, forget who.
In that sense, they might just want to prepare for it, as we're saying that they pick Earth Spirit, that they don't really commit for like anything. So if they actually see the Magnus pick here, they can counter it with their second pick here.
Why do you say the Earth Spirit is a good counter to melee heroes?
Well, his spells, like the proximity and the way his spells work, you know, his Magnetize works on targets that are around his rocks, and then his boulder kick hits everything that goes through a line. So the closer you are, I guess the higher percentage you're going to get hit by it.
Just reliability factor.
Just on like the cone of it, I guess. Like the farther you are away from Earth Spirit, the harder it is for him to hit the rock on you. But if you have like Magnus and 2 other melee heroes, it's very likely that he's going to be getting a lot of 2 to 3 man stuns and silences.
And he also has the silence, yeah. So he actually has 2 ways to stop the Magnus from coming into the fight and using his ultimate.
Magnus picked right away from LGD.
Well, not right away. They actually wasted, well, not wasted. They used like 40 to 50 seconds of their reserve time on their very first pick of their very first 2 picks of the game.
That was a very fast DP pick, so it just seems like IG, as we said, like they prepare for the Magnus pick, so
lots of silence.
And LGD seems very confident in it as well. They just picked Magnus right away. So
up against 2 heroes with silence, do you think you go for some sort of hero that builds a BKB? Maybe you can do something that goes Yules
on the Magnus?
Just for the rest of their heroes that are incoming. Like they need some way to address the silence, right?
Yeah.
Ideally not BKB heroes.
You don't think so? Why is that?
I like Manta a lot more. I don't know, BKB, man fighting versus Death Prophet, not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I would say as a core, I prefer just to kite the Death Prophet ultimate, which you don't really want to do with the BKB.
Manta heroes can be cool. We still have Juggernaut and Lifestealer both in the pool. People really like those heroes up against Earth Spirit to remove Magnetize. Also, Healing Ward is very, very good up against Earth Spirit's ultimate.
And they banned the Oracle, LGD did, because if you ulti the Death Prophet and she uses her Siphon Spirits, if that's the name of it, then she's gonna get a lot of health. And you really want to burst down Prophet if you want to go for her when she pops her ultimate.
Yeah, we've seen a decent amount of Oracle up against AA. AA having that finishing ultimate when heroes get below 10% HP. But they banned Oracle, and then immediately following that, IG decided to ban AA, just to be careful of whatever might come ahead.
10 seconds remaining.
I bring up the fact that Earth Spirit and Death Prophet both have strong silences. There's some intuitive type things like, if they have low armor, we're going to get a lot of physical damage. These types of things. Or if we have strong magic resist, that's good against a large nuke-based team. But silence can work on any target. So what are some of the main reasons that you want to get silence on a team?
Well, I mean, for the obvious reasons of them not being able to cast spells, but it works really well against heroes that don't want to build BKB, just because if they have to spend 4,000 gold on an item in order to do anything in team fights, that's a win for you. That's 4,000 gold they're not putting into damage.
And it's like a very late build up for Magnus to build it because he usually wants to get the dagger and then either like Force or Shadow Blade before he actually gets the BKB. So it's going to be a very late BKB for the Magnus, and in that sense the silence is going to be very useful for a long period of the game.
See that Sven ban, Death Prophet also, her ultimate is entirely physical, so any positive armor buffs on LGD is going to reduce how much damage and effectiveness she has in team fights.
Surprised we haven't seen Shaker. I think XSS could easily play it. I think it's pretty good versus Tusk and pretty decent versus Magnus, and very good at protecting the Death Prophet. Yao's picked up one of his most common supports, Shadow Shaman, as the position 5. Nothing too surprising there.
Yeah, Shaker's good against the Shadow Shaman as well to cancel the shackle from long distance.
And then looking at Ame's hero, he's been playing with a lot of Troll. Troll seems okay here.
They got the Magnus, so
yeah, playable.
If people are going to pick Troll, I'd really prefer them to wait until they see what kind of core matchup they're in. Their hero has some pretty big flaws. Let's see. We have Shadow Shaman for Yao. He played it a bit the other day, and they have all this team fight, and they just kind of sit behind Yao, and he runs in and almost like this sacrificial lamb who drops wards and hides behind trees while they kill buildings. It almost forces IG to fight them, or they just give up their towers.
Yeah, there's something that Bulba noted yesterday backstage that looking at a lot of these lineups, the ones that have lots of big different threats are doing very well. Obviously, Magnus has the Blink RP to set up huge team fights. Shadow Shaman, if left alone, he can throw down wards and knock down towers while you're not looking.
I really like Juggernaut right now. I think that it can work. I know the hero hasn't been the most popular hero, and he might not be the best hero, but I think he works really well here. He's really great with the spin of dodging glimpse and getting out of disruptor spells. Also,
and just dodging the Earth Spirit when
yeah,
kind of silence you and stunning you.
Tons of tools to deal with Earth Spirit. Also up against Death Prophet, Juggernaut's a hero that builds Diffusal Blade. Most Death Prophets go Yule Scepter, and they Yules themselves to protect themselves during their ultimate. But you can just diffuse her and bring her back down, and you can burst her.
Disruptor is a very good pick here for IG as well, because they're gonna have an option to both try to catch the mag and kill him before he gets his ultimate off, but also during the laning phase, because the one thing that Magnus can use to get away is his skewer, and then Disruptor can just glimpse him. So they actually have a lot of kill potential on him now.
The XXS Earthshaker. Now we've talked a lot about this fourth pick, where LGD kind of has to throw down Queen of Pain.
Yep. They had to pick something pretty neutral.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't have a ton of counters, but is going to do well in his lane. The nice thing is they saw the Death Prophet first too, so they kind of knew what that matchup was most likely going to be.
Struggles a lot versus silences though. There's 3 silences.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a BKB game for Queen of Pain. Yeah. I would say second item, treads, and then...
Jules is not the best right here, because if he actually uses the Jules, she's setting up for other spells.
Yeah, I don't... Jules is so situational for me on a lot of these intelligence heroes. Storm, Blob, Puff. I don't think that this is the best game for that. I think just getting that earlier BKB and being able to take fights is going to be very clutch.
Surprised they banned Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker's unusual ban out unless you already show your one position. I think he counters AM and Lycan the most of the one positions, so they might be setting up for like an AM. AM actually seems pretty good versus IG.
Burning has played it a couple times this tournament, and he's done fairly well on the hero. This is kind of like a free ban for a team with last pick. They say, what's the one hero I just really don't want to play against. Also, they're definitely picking a melee hero to pair up with Magnus here.
Yep.
So Bloodseeker is kind of an anti-melee hero in that regard.
Also, they can't give Invictus a 4th silence.
Yeah. I mean, they could.
All in on silence.
They could. Yeah, they might be 2 all in on silence at that point. Dota's a delicate balance. You need to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
So we've seen Queen of Pain be, again, in a lot of situations where it feels like you need something neutral. We've seen tons of teams go for Queen of Pain. It hasn't really seemed to have very much success at the main stage.
This pick's also often a little tough too. You have to pick your one before you see the opponent's one, so you can also pick something more neutral. I think like Weaver's pretty neutral, like pretty decent in most matchups.
Anything anti-melee is how I feel.
LGD's turn.
You know it's coming.
Faceless Void. Super
Anti-melee. Yeah, I like it.
We've even seen Faceless Void and Magnus in power coming out yesterday. So
Yeah, it could have been an option for LGD as well. No, I really like that pick. They've got
10 seconds
a
remaining.
ton of great heroes up against melee. This melee core that I do believe is coming for Burning or for Ame, right?
Now select your hero.
there it is, the Troll Warlord plus Magnus that was mentioned right at the start gets closed out, and Invictus Gaming has an intimidating team fight with the Disruptor, Earthshaker, and Faceless Void. It's time for game number 1 to begin. Each of these teams is guaranteed top 6, but would love to win here today to get into top 4. Take it away, casters.
Top 4 is definitely what both of these teams are chasing. LGD versus Invictus Gaming. I'm Toby here with a wonderful Cinderin. Man, what a series. LGD versus IG. Still kicking hard. We look at the drafts. It's very expected, I don't want to say, of what we're wanting from LGD as well as IG.
Yeah, kind of. I think PPD made a good point that these two teams have been showing extremely high skill and also know each other very well. So when you're in that sort of comfort matchup, you could almost say, then there's two options. Either you try to really take them out of their comfort zone and completely surprise, or you stick to your guns because you kind of have an expectation of what the other team will do. And they've kind of just been, counterpicking and counterpicking and counterpicking while getting their own heroes. There's a lot of heroes, obviously, to highlight in this game. 11 on the Magnus, we've got bo3, Earth Spirit. The one that I think wasn't given that much attention was the OP Death Prophet, which I think he's maybe the best player in the world on this hero, or at least easily top 3, has been having outstanding games. I believe it was at the Kiev Major that IG were just first phasing this hero as the only team. It got respect banned against them. So certainly a lot of comfort picks for both teams.
So it's that confidence to do it again. First phasing up that Death Prophet. And we will get ourselves underway already. LGD looking to establish map control. And they are going to run that 11 Magnus up towards the off lane. Do you like the Tuskar pickup as well? Something else that LGD has moved into? We see a lot of team fight coming out from him. Is the Tuskar going to offer maybe that presence to the mid lane to try and control OP's Death Prophet?
It's a good hero against the Death Prophet in lane because Death Prophet is very movement based when it comes to the lane. You wanna, when you siphon, you want to be able to run heroes down, or siphon to disengage or slow your opponent and run away from them. But the shards can counteract both types of play.
Brutal, savage.
In addition, it gives them catch. I think it's very nice when you look at how Victoria plays. He generally plays this Kunkka and the Tusk we see here as they were talking about. And I think this is just LGD's replacement pick when they can't get their Kunkka. This is a good way to go. It's similar to Kunkka in the sense that Kunkka has both the aggressive and the defensive potential with X Mark and Ghost Ship, and Tusk is similar. You have the aggressive and defensive snowball, and the shards can also be used aggressively and defensively. So I think it's just a good hybrid aggressive defensive support pick that LGD seemed to really favor for Victoria.
Well, we'll see just how effective it will be in this game. For the moment, Magnus has been forced off that top bounty room. Burning will take it. IG haven't gotten on to the fact there was an observer ward also placed down around the corner. Everything else, as far as tempo goes from the game, what are both teams really looking for here? Are you happy just to let the lanes play out, maybe just look for that rotation gank in towards the mid and let the safe and the off lane just be very passive? Or should there be more rotations to other lanes? Or is mid just the focus?
It's a bit hard to say. The Queen of Pain is not the easiest target to gank for the Earth Spirit. Similarly, actually, we're going to have action right away. OP.
Yeah, he's actually letting the Spirit Siphon go pretty early on. Victoria comes in with a shard, pushing OP down. Somna's getting a lot of damage into OP. He's already going to just munch on the Tango. Happy tree. bo3 not really having an influence until that point, but now it's the supports who have to create space for their mids.
Yeah, this is every mid game in TI. It seems like.
The only thing we're missing is the Nyx Assassin Mana Burn,
Yep,
and
that's
it's
missing.
literally the classic mid.
That is true. No Mana Burn this time around. Did get first phase banned together with the Night Stalker, so Nyx still banned. Now, that was, I think, the 100th ban on Nyx and the 99th on Night Stalker. When you see so many bans on that type of heroes, it really tells something about the style of play that the teams favor.
I was waiting for you to say it's going to tell about the patch log, which comes out shortly after TI.
More than likely going to have an influence on that. If the hero gets banned so much, has a tendency to get nerfed. Nice bash from Burning. He's practiced that for years. One of the... Is he the oldest competitor this year? I think. He's 29.
the age of the player, I'm not certain. As far as the years of playing Dota, he's got to be up there.
He's definitely up there, that's for sure. One of the very old school players from all the way back in Dota 1. Went under both the nicknames of Burning and I believe AAA for a while. That's a long time ago when he played on eHome in 2009 or 10.
I'll give you a +1 point for your memory, Syndrin.
Thank you.
I got a little bit of a movement coming out from Yao. Looks like he's just coming up for the 2-minute rune. And bo3 gets himself an action rune, so a double damage may not be enough. OP only has the Crypt Swarm plus the Spirit Siphon, so they don't have that instant dash. You do have the Earth Spirit up at level 2, so it's an opportunity. Roll forward, they keep the silence on Somnus, but it's not long enough. And now maybe the shards turn around. No, it cannot lock in bo3. So Somnus will just burn the south. The gank potentially could have worked just because that level 2 on the ES.
It's still successful for IG. You want to keep the pressure up on this Queen of Pain and not just let her farm and play aggressively on the Death Prophet. They want to respond, force the Queen of Pain to buy regen, so you delay her other item progression, and especially when you have that double damage. And oh, nice shards!
That's going to hold OP in position.
That's not enough. Already used that Shadow Strike onto the Earth Spirit, so they couldn't commit for the Death Prophet with it. And it looks like bo3 is going to walk away for a little bit, probably use his Flask Scan, his Clarity here, and get ready to play. That's exactly what he's going to do. So I'm not sure if we're going to see him rotate and try to do anything elsewhere. For now, the off lanes for both teams are getting quite a decent amount of farm, as is the norm in this patch. So both of them sitting on level 3, not getting completely shut down whatsoever.
The only problem you probably have was for Magnus bottom lane. Troubles, Yao. Here comes just snowball forward. Exo says, I'm seeing the tower, the shards. It doesn't block him in, but the shackles still holding him in position. The Earth, he cannot get back. Not far enough into the safety of the tier 1 tower. So LGD claim the first blood on the off-lane Earthshaker. Meanwhile in mid, there goes just silence once more onto the Queen of Pain. But she has enough life to get back to the tier 1 without forcing the blink.
That Divine Edge is a pack of tangos, and he's munching through all of them, I think, here. This aggression, so the bottle is getting quite a bit delayed. Seeing maybe going for this thing that has become a lot more normal in recent times, going the double null talisman before the blink, or sorry, the bottle, so that he can contest in CS, having a little bit of extra mana and health damage output. It looks like the bottle will be coming out for OP though, so he's opting for that more. I mean, I'm not completely sure what the ratios are right now of what mid players do, but I feel like we're seeing more double null than null into bottle. But with DP, of course, if you have this head start, it's very nice. There's a lot of runes that are very good on DP.
Arcane is one of the best ones, especially into the later portion of the game.
Not so good right now.
No, but at least having the bottle, controlling the runes with bo3 lets them bring bo3 back up to full health and mana, who's now going to be just hiding in a tree. Victoria walks past him, says hello, so they can at least shake hands for the moment. bo3, it's like he still wants a rolling boulder forward. Somnus will be able to catch him. Shadow Strike is down. He has Scream at level 2, but with OP there is no way Somnus can commit into the Earth Spirit.
And he's going to use this Arcane Rune to get that Siphon off of that nuke, and it's very low mana cost, obviously. I think it's pretty important for OP to have this rune right now. When I look at this mid lane is going way more the Queen of Pain's way than I thought it would. He is so far up on denies. 16 denies for the Queen to the 4 of Death Prophet has actually given Somnus more or less a full level advantage in this mid lane with both of the supports helping out. That's good news for LGD. Getting that fast level 6 on Queen before Death Prophet gets her levels up allows you to go for that key kill in the mid lane that very often swings the game a lot.
Yep, and if Death Prophet starts falling behind, if it's Invictus Gaming playing reactionary, then they can't look to use their combinations either. And we can always think about like that big combination that IG have. If you get a good Chronosphere with all the damage that will come out from Exorcism, then you've also got your Echo Slam, your control from Disruptor as well. They're all finding levels on the supports. Just these teams simmering and not wanting to really open up just yet. LGD is getting a small advantage across the map, 1,000 in gold, 600 in experience. It's a small amount, it just means their lanes are going slightly better than IG's.
And that's very good for LGD when you also have this Magnus, because what has a tendency of defeating Magnus lineups a lot of the time. Actually, wait a second, Victoria, the roll missed though, so they're not going to commit. When it comes to Magnus lineups, the way we often see them lose is either that the Magnus team gets pressured really hard early on and gets pushed before Magnus's Empower starts really kicking in and giving his cores farm, or that you have the late game carries that can deal with this RP and melee cores. And looking across the board, I think IG would have liked to have a bit more success early on in terms of just raw laning power. LGD have drafted very well around that. All 3 of their lanes are doing very, very well here.
Yep, they're just counting their time until the right moment. Arme able to harass that bottom tier 1 tower quite heavily. This is with the catapult wave and is forcing an extra TP. This Disruptor coming down, rolling boulder, able to connect on the Troll Warlord. Yao and Victoria's here, but Victoria can't get in straight away. That Earth Spirit kick doesn't work, but the shot massively on the money. XSS, at least he can start to create a little bit of space, but he will not survive. LGD, huge kills. And the pressure on the tower will actually make this easier for Arme to finish the job and bring down that first tier 1.
This is one of the biggest strengths of the Troll Warlord. In this early laning stage, he is extremely tanky. 13 armor. The first point in Berserker's Rage gives 6 armor. He wants to go this Ring of Aquila build. So IG, I think kind of naive even trying for that kill. They TP down the Disruptor, who's level 4. These heroes combining their spells don't have the damage until Shaker's level 6. And a bit of an assessment mistake there, giving LGD some very nice kills. Victoria in the right place at the right time. There was again, kind of that hybrid play with Tusk that was both aggressive and defensive at the same time. He saved the troll and gave them 2 kills with those ice shards.
They're going to go again. Victoria, here comes the shards forward, locking in the Earthshaker Q. What can you really do here? Puts up a wall, the fissure, stunning and keeping the Troll Warlord at least away from the Earthshaker and OP. Reinforcements have arrived. The Death Prophet wants a fight. They're going to get it. The Glimpse dragging Troll back into the Spirit Siphon, plus the Exorcism damage. It'll be more than enough to bring down Arme. And with this, now it's going to be Invictus Gaming to push the other way on bottom lane and attack that tier 1 tower.
This was a lot better. That was a great rotation, bringing down these heroes, using the Exorcism aggressively like this. I think maybe a necessity for OP as well to get out of mid for a little bit, because maybe it's dominating him so hard. This kind of play puts his hero to good use while he's getting out-leveled in mid. At least he secures that bottom tower. And now Shaker's going to TP into mid to try and protect this against the aggression of Somnus and Victoria. So IG get on the board, getting the first tower of the game and a little bit of a kill to boot.
They do, but LGD are looking for a rebuttal. So they send Arme up to the top lane to attack it for the tier 1 tower. As you said, that mid lane was taking considerable amounts of damage. Invictus Gaming do hold it back for the moment. But IG's teamfight's going to get better. You have Chronosphere up for burning. You have the phase boots, at least for the movement speed of OP. When it comes to those teamfights, very critical for him to be in the right place. Bobrica, maybe not the greatest thing for him. Like, he's probably the weakest point of IG at the moment. Only now going to hit level 4, soaking up the experience in the mid.
This is something we see from Earth Spirits in quite a few games. It's a bit uncharacteristic for Bobrica because he has this like X factor on the hero, just a tendency to find these early kills. But in this game, I think he's a bit lineup limited in what he can do. There is no good lane to gank for him. Killing Troll with this hero is almost impossible. Killing Queen of Pain is very difficult when your mid laner is a Death Prophet. And in the top lane, maybe they could have found a pick on this Magnus if they combined their spells very nicely, but it's not the easiest either. So he's going to be a little bit slow here. This does happen sometimes to Earth Spirit. The main thing is finding level 6. Then even if your early game is slow, you can get that one great team fight with Magnetize, and then all of a sudden your hero looks like it never had a bad early game.
Still waiting for that team fight from LGD. You have Magnus. He currently went for a 4-2-1 build, so just focused on heavy farming for the moment. Does have the arcane boots, needs that last critical item for the team fight, which is the Blink Dagger. And IG is a very non-invasive from both sides. They're not contesting any parts of the jungle for either side. It's pretty much everyone's got this almost ceasefire agreement. You're allowed to farm, and then we'll take a tier 1. Okay, then you take our tier 1 tower. Straight trade-off, we understand the rhythm of the game. But someone's going to change the beat. And LGD, under this smoke gank, maybe they can do exactly that.
Well, this slow-paced game is certainly favoring LGD right now. They're getting through that difficult, or the hardest stage of the game, arguably, for Magnus. He's just been left to free farm. He's been giving Troll and power multiple times, so the farm is just flowing in for LGD. And 11 will not skill his RP for quite a while, probably just get 4 in empower, maybe even his talent. Yeah.
Perfect observer was going to see him. Victoria starts with the shard, just wants to block him off. Able to do so. Queen of Pain moving forward. The fissure buys a little bit of time. There's a lot of mana in XSS, but LGD backing off the fight. They really didn't want that. Meanwhile, mid lane, it's OP attacking with the Exorcism, beating into the tower. They've got the Chronosphere for cover. They've got a catapult behind them. Not to mention, all 5 heroes from Invictus Gaming have gravitated towards that mid lane.
Cute little ghost fishies. Getting the talent. It's so weird to me. This cosmetic is weird.
Have you got something against fish?
No, not at all. That's just, she calls them her sisters. It's weird.
I think something against female fish.
I mean, I don't want to go there with this, but let's not make it about gender. Oh,
Bottom lane,
Bottom lane,
Yao,
Yao,
rolling
yeah,
forward,
he's in
comes
trouble.
forward. He's already moved down far enough. He won't be able to avoid the kick from bo3. Goes for a quick hex. The wall is up, so he knows he can't go anywhere apart from just Ether shocking. Shackles was available, but doesn't use him. So IG rotate, they do find a kill. But while all this is happening, you've still got Somnus farming up the top lane. Everyone else has gone either into the jungle, into Ancients. Victoria's considering going on OP in the mid, but Armade's got other thoughts, looking for the double damage rune in bottom, but he's not even going for that. In fact, it's going to be into the bottle of OP.
we've actually seen surprisingly little stacking from LGD, maybe even none. This troll with Empower can farm quad stacks of Ancients very easily on level 9, just having this blind from the Whirling Axis. It's a 4-second, 60% miss chance, and you cleave down these Ancients very fast, but they haven't actually been stacking for him that much. Maybe I missed a stack on the right Ancient camp, but it doesn't look like it actually. He already killed the big dragon there, and then he was like, whatever, I'll go for the other camp for some reason. They could have probably amplified Ame a lot more than they have by just stacking a bit more. When you have this slow of a game, it's not that difficult for the supports to just make that little sidestep and stack a camp or two, but they've been protecting their cores more than anything with both the Shaman and the Tusk, and this aggressive move looks like it's successful in mid. The Serpent Wards will take this tower. Goes the way of Yao.
Just wisely read by Yao, understanding that none of the cores from IG were there, especially the cores which can deal with mass Serpent Wards, which really are not that many. You don't have the range for it, you'll have to tank through the damage, burning, as well as OP are really the only ones right now who can deal with mass Serpent Wards. So they take the tower, and then LGD look towards the top lane. They're ready for a fight. Veil of Discord is up from the Queen of Pain, so amplification is there, the RP is skilled. You don't have mass Serpent Wards, but there should be enough power if LGD can find just that one pick.
I think LGD still just want to wait for the blink, you know? Why not? Keep farming, keep building up this troll and this mag. As long as IG aren't bringing on the aggression, I'm with LGD for this game, with the pace it's having right now.
Just allow the farm to continue.
Yep.
Their gold lead is continuing to stretch bit by bit. It's just shy of 3,000 at the moment, just shy of 4K in the experience. So, yeah, LGD are happy to accept the status quo.
There's still good farm coming in for IG though. It's not all this Magnus and power, and now it's gonna start to ramp up now that he has the level 4 in power, and the natural like movement speed of the heroes is increasing. The troll's going for that Yasha, so he's going to be able to traverse the map quicker and accelerate his farm. But so far, Burning has been doing a good job keeping up with this troll more or less. He's about 700 gold behind right now, which I think is definitely admirable under the circumstances of the game.
11 bodies pulling dagger.
Yeah.
It's just that group up. You've got smoke over on Yao. So if LGD want to look for a fight, they can do so. But is it still wise to do it? Like, you've got that blink dagger, you've got the timing right, but at the same time Invictus Gaming, they get their moment. They actually get the blink dagger for the Earthshaker coming on the courier.
And neither team knows.
They smoked out of range of the Observer Ward.
Maybe they saw him get it delivered actually. 11, I think, might have got the blink dagger under that dire ward. They could have seen it, but the Radiant surely doesn't know that XXS has his. He is smoked up.
They didn't see it. They definitely didn't see it. XXS now coming forward, looking for that blink echo. Who's he gonna find? Right now, the echo slam. It doesn't get the sound of the troll. Warlord, you can still get Q's ulti out, however, but the damage. Troll standing his ground. Snowball can pick him up, drag him forward. They're gonna find the kill already. Flipping the Earthshaker like an omelet into bo3 as well. LGD really not being punished when they get caught out. You can at least put down the Chronosphere, combining with the Exes, but Yao holding OP in position. They need space with the RP. LGD! They already thought they had themselves a good fight. They end up claiming 4 hero kills.
I'm really surprised they tried to go for that. Like, it looked like a good Chrono into DP ulti, and they do get that 1 kill on the Tusk, but they were kind of just going in 2-on-5. Disruptor was already forced out of the fight after getting his Static Storm down. They didn't get that kill, and the Troll once again just a bit too tanky. That Echo Slam has to connect first. And instead of going for a mini blink there, the Shaker tried to melee Echo Slam, but he was a little bit out of range. Then he has to blink to get the Enchant Totem, and that creates the distance for Trolls. We're going to see it here. The Echo actually, I think it missed completely. It did. Now he gets in, gets the Fissure, and that little bit of damage. That's what they were lacking. Troll turns around, starts hitting with that high lifesteal, and Victoria brings him in with the snowball. Again, that both defensive and aggressive play at the same time with the snowball this time around is going to put LGD in a great position. Now they have the Aegis and a 5k advantage.
That really is the sweet spot for LGD. Exactly what they wanted to do. Their first team fight, the reveals of the Blink Daggers. It's Invictus Gaming not getting what they want. They have to wait until you get Echo Slam back off cooldown before you have these big, long cooldown abilities. It's another minute or so until you get both Void, Ulti, and Exorcism back.
That's a good point about the Dire lineup. It's very cooldown reliant. The Radiant obviously have some key cooldowns as well in the RP and the Sonic wave, but outside of those, when you look across the lineups, it seems like the key cooldowns are more integral to the success of the Dire teams. Just plays around the map than for the Radiant. So whenever these fights happen, LGD are going to feel confident to both farm aggressively and push towers. And with the Aegis, it's going to be no problem whatsoever for Ame to just walk down this right side of the map. Look at his net worth right now compared to everyone else in the game.
9.5k, he's a full 2.5 grand in front of the Faceless Void. You said it was only
teamfight and Empower
before.
Good teamfight and Empower, and there you go. So Sanjin Yasha, Mask of Madness, Phase Boots, minute 17. This is really, really high farm. This is above his standard for Troll, for sure.
LGD are now moving that Troll to the top lane. Burning, being forced out of his own jungle. He wants to be able to farm this, but thanks to the Observer Ward vision from LGD, they can see Invictus Gaming's movements around the mid-tier 2. They'll understand when IG also go into their jungle. But the easier way just to make that jungle more fearful, remove all of the outer towers on the top lane.
Troll took this tower down in a matter of seconds with Empower, and he didn't even ulti. Just Empower and the Fervor stacking up. This is pretty bad news for IG. They're actually getting crushed after their own aggressive move. That backfired so hard that they lost complete control of the map.
Here comes the fight again. LGD trying to keep that momentum and make it even bigger. It's the smoke move maneuver. As well, it can break. They don't find a target just yet, but top lane, it's gonna be the Earthshaker. RPM up, the solo flip. OP will arrive, but then again, you put the Mass Serpent Wards down. And Yao even caught the Earth Spirit. bo3 wanting to come and help. The Glimpse, he's just trying to get some space here. Q begins his TP, but it won't happen. Invictus Gaming are dropping like flies. And LGD, they can do no wrong.
This is an absolute beatdown right now. This tier 2 tower is gone as well, and all of these IG teamfight abilities that you look at and you're like, this is a great teamfight lineup. It's just not happening. The lanes went well for LGD, the Queen of Pain and the Troll had good starts. They got that one good fight, and their lineup just is snowballing completely. Now the TP in
they're
from
coming in.
bo3.
Are they really going to be able to do this? The Troll Warlord, then fighting up against the Earth Spirit. OP needs a big fight. Burning, looking for the Chronosphere. They'll actually isolate Ame, but remember, he's got the Aegis Immortal. Shaker's going to lose his life just to burn this. And Burning, well, there goes your Chronosphere. OP, he needs this kill, but the Sonic Wave, the damage amplification is just way too much. Invictus Gaming, 4 heroes down. You know you're going to make it 5. Q can run, but they call GG in sub 20 minutes. LGD, this is a curb stomping by them.
Man, this game's just over.
Literally.
I mean, what do you think? IG knew they were going to lose a lane of Rax there. And if you lose a lane of Rax 20 minutes in against a lineup with Magnus Troll, it's not... You kind of feel like it's not going to be possible for your team to come back. It is a best of 3, so they have the next game to look forward to. Generally, in these lower bracket matches, teams try to play to the bitter end, but this game was just so out of hand so fast that it was hard to see IG with any opportunities.
And all of it starts just